Ocsigen by Benedikt Becker and Vincent Ballard, and Benedikt is leading it.
So, hi and good morning. My name is Benedikt Becker and I spent the last year in Paris at Eliom working on Eliom, which is part of the Ocsigen project. And I will give you tell you about the state of the art and the prospects of the Ocsigen project, of the many projects which are developed under the umbrella of Ocsigen with a special focus on Eliom. So let's start with an overview about the Ocsigen Zoo, all the projects which grew up there. First of all, there are three projects of rather general purpose. There's LWT, for, which is a cooperative approach for threading. There's JSON for OCaml, which lets you program your web browser in OCaml by providing an API accordingly to the browser API for JavaScript, and a compiler from OCaml bytecode to JavaScript. And there's XML for creating XML elements in a typeset, where the validity is checked by the type checker from OCaml. Below the three basic projects, there are the Ocsigen projects which are rather connected to web development. So there's first of all Ocsigen Server, which is a standalone and extensible web server in OCaml, which makes heavy usage of LWT to process the requests asynchronously. And there is Eliom, which is a toolset for creating client-server web application. I will later say in more detail what this is. And the Eliom applications are running on the Ocsigen server, make heavy usage of JS-OCaml to provide this integrated development process of client part of the client part of the server part in one. And XML is used to generate only HTML valid content. And in turn, derived from Eliom is Ocsigen, which is a wiki system for content-based websites, and this is also provides one of the first or one major user of Macaque, domain-specific language in OCaml for PostgreSQL. Concerning the changes in all those projects within the last year, there were only minor changes in the Basel projects because they are very major and stable. Most notably, probably that LWT has now a more efficient implementation of streams, and JS-OCaml you can now program 3D whatever games in OCaml for your web browser. But by far the most development and work went into Eliom. I will give you a short demo of what you can do with Eliom. This is the website where you can, where you are welcome to join, and you can here log in with any name, Mike, and just log in. And here you see the list of users with whom you can chat. No, oh, there is one. Hello. I'm present. So, in Eliom we are doing experiments on how to do, in a very basic manner, such application, but it's also example how to do client-server web applications in a safe and easy manner on the library side, but also on the language side. We're thinking about what is the right language to do client-server web programming, and of course, OCaml is the right choice. But we are dealing with a slightly difficult or slightly different situation because the program which because the web application is split into two parts. There's a constantly and uniquely on the server running program, the on the Ocsigen server in this case. And there's a client-side part of the program, which is running in each browser tab independently, and which is sort of an uncoupling of the server program on the time of the first request. But those two parts appear to the user as one application, and the point about Eliom as a language extension is to let the one web application also appear as one, in a different manner, as one thing to the programmer. So the first point in Eliom is to have to make it possible to program server and client side in one single source file. This is first of all very easy. You can just declare sections. Here's a server section which contains the server only code of your program, and you have a client section which contains the client only section of the part. And hey, you have also a shared section which is available for both, for client and server. And what we are then doing is to compile the server part with OCaml-C to server program, and we are using JSON of OCaml, and this is the point to provide the client-side program. But this alone wouldn't be of much usage. You could have put all this in just the client and the server file and client and the server part in two different files, and you come up with the same thing. So we need some exchange between those sections. And the first kind of exchange is doing injections. So injections in Eliom is if you have a server-side top-level variable, here v, declared, you can refer to that variable within the client program just by prefixing it with a person sign. When the program is running, that variable, the person v, has the value of v on the server from the time point when the client-side program is sent to the user. What is this good for? In the chat, you have seen this list of this. Oh, we have another new user. In the chat, you have here the list of users which are currently connected, and it updates automatically. And actually, this is a reactive signal of currently active users, and this is only on the server side. But on the client side, we are just mapping this reactive signal with some function which puts them into the UL element of the HTML DOM, and we are referring directly to the server side signal. So this is one possibility to do the exchange between the sections between server and client section in an Eliom file. The other one is that in Eliom you have the possibility to declare and deal with arbitrary client values in the server section. So here's the server only code, but you can declare here a client value which is surrounded by double curly braces and contains arbitrary client-side code, maybe code of type, an expression of type t, and what you get on the server side is a value of type t client value. This is abstract on the server side, but once it is sent to the client, it becomes a concrete value. What is this good for? For example, a very basic usage is to declare event handlers from the server side. An event handler on the client side is a function from an event to unit, and this is what's declared in this client value. And on the server side, we now have an event to unit client value, which is put as the on-click event handler here in the cross, where you can close the dialog. Yeah, that's the so this way you have the possibility to declare completely functional HTML elements with interaction on the server side. Yeah. Now I've spoken quite a bit about Eliom as a language extension, but I have hardly mentioned the many possibilities, many libraries which are available also for doing web applications. For client-oriented web development, I've at least mentioned that there's a good integration of reactive data into Eliom by this little example of users. But there's also a lot of other library for client-oriented development. But Eliom is also, or the focus in the research for Ocsigen and Eliom was actually on classic web development, which is still available and combines very well with the client-oriented web development parts of Eliom. So let's only mention services parenthetically. Services are an abstraction of HTTP resources. So get and post methods, which are type safe and prevent you from dead links. And they have a highly developed service identification mechanism, and if a request from the client is processed. And as another shortly mentioned example are here Eliom references, which are a glorious combination of references as you know them with the session-based client identification from classic web tool stacks. So, but the rest of due to the time, I will leave it to you to explore the rest of the library of Eliom. Thanks for your attention.